Some places don't get louder when something happens. They get quieter. And the creek by the old mill, this is one of those places. The story of a woman who walked upstream isn't one people tell casually. It's one they lower their voices for, even when they're indoors. Not because they're scared of the memories, but because they're scared the creek might still be listening. It happened on a fall evening when the cold felt colder than the season. The sky was the kind of gray that makes the world look washed out, like the color hasn't been drained from anything. The old mill sat there in its usual silence, leaning just enough to look tired, but not enough to fall. And the creek moved with that slow, heavy drag it gets when something is off. The first person who saw her was a man headed home from work. He noticed movement in the water, not the usual ripples, not the usual drift of leaves. Something steady, something deliberate. But when he got closer, he realized it wasn't a woman standing in the creek, facing upstream. She wasn't shivering. She wasn't confused. She wasn't reacting to the cold at all. She stood like someone waiting for a signal. Then she started walking. She moved against the current with a calm that didn't make sense. The water didn't push her. It didn't splash around her legs. It slid aside like it recognized her. Her clothes weren't soaked the way they should have been. Her hair didn't move in the wind. She walked like she was following a path no one else could see. The man rolled down his window and called out to her. She didn't turn. She didn't blink. She didn't acknowledge him. She just kept on walking, whispering something too soft to understand. He said it didn't sound like talking to herself. It sounded like answering. Another driver slowed up behind him. She said the woman's footprints didn't make sound, not even a faint splash you'd expect. The creek moved around her like she wasn't a person, but part of the water itself. She kept walking until she reached the bend. The same bend where the mill's shadow falls across the creek even though the building shouldn't cast a shadow that far. But that shadow has always been wrong. Darker than it should be, heavier than it should be. She stopped right at the edge of it, and for the first time, she looked up toward the mill. Not at the building, the broken section of the foundation beside it, the part that collapsed years ago. She stared at that spot with recognition, like she stood there before, like something was waiting for her. Then she stepped out of the water. She didn't hesitate. She didn't look back. She didn't react to the cold. She walked straight into the trees, the same trees people say feel older than the town, older than the mill, older than the stories. She slipped between them like she knew exactly where she was going. No one saw her come back out. The sheriff's office logged it as no confirmed incident. No missing person matched her description. No one reported a stranger in town. No one claimed to know her. But the people who lived near the creek said the water wasn't quiet that night. They said it made a sound it doesn't normally make. Not rushing, not splashing, but like something closer to a voice. Not words, just tone. Like the creek was answering her. Some say she was drawn there. Others say she was returning. But the oldest family said something different. They said she wasn't the first person to walk upstream like that. They say the creek remembers things. And they say the mill didn't shut down because of a broken foundation. Whatever she walked toward might still be there. That's the part people don't like to talk about. Not because they doesn't believe it, but because they seen enough to know the creek doesn't forget. The bend where she disappeared hasn't changed. The shadow still reaching farther than it should. The water still slows down when you step close. A few weeks after she vanished, someone found something near the tree line. Not clothing, not phone, nothing that could identify her. Just a single footprint in the mud, facing out of the woods, not in. And the strange part wasn't the footprint itself. It was the fact that the mud was undisturbed, like she should have stepped there long after the ground should have dried. The sheriff's office didn't log it. The town didn't mention it. But the people who saw it said the same thing. The print looked it fresh. And even now and then, usually close to winter, someone driving past said they seen movement near the bend. Not a person, not an animal, just a shape in the water, standing still, facing upstream, like the creek is waiting for someone to finish what she started. Whatever she walked toward, whatever caught her into those trees, it didn't stay in the woods. Thank you for listening to another episode of One Voice Many Stories.